Kia ora. In today's news, Wairarapa farmers are counting the cost of one of their driest summers on record as the region prepares to be declared in drought. This Wednesday, Wairarapa will be officially declared in drought along with most of the upper and central North Island. Masterton Mayor Gary Daniels says stock farmers have suffered the most from the dry conditions.
The immediate situation is not too bad going into winter without autumn growth and with a deficit in supplementary feed has some ramifications.
But some much-needed respite from the drought may be on its way. A ridge of high pressure that has settled over the country could make way for two lows early next week. Weather Watch analyst Philip Duncan says it's the best chance for rain the country's had in a long time.
We've got an ex-tropical cyclone called Sandra, which will be coming out of the tropics into the central Tasman Sea. And then at the same time, a southerly front comes in ahead of the next high. That bodes, as best as it's looked in many months, for seeing a rainmaker cross over New Zealand.
3 legal firms are calling on New Zealanders to participate in a class action to claim back excessive bank default fees. New Zealand lawyer Andrew Hooker says banks have been overcharging Kiwi customers on default fees that add up to around $1 billion over the last 6 years. The litigation, called Fair Play on Fees, is set to become the largest class action in New Zealand. A big week is looming on the political front. The debate over asset sales is set to continue tomorrow. On Wednesday, the bill to Mondayize public holidays, when they fall on a weekend, will conclude its second reading. And on Wednesday evening, MPs will debate the second stage of Labour MP Louisa Wall's marriage equality bill. But with a tight schedule, it may not get to the voting stage. Artefacts relating to Captain Cook's journeys to New Zealand are back in the country, and Dame Anne Summoned wants a huge celebration in 2019 to mark the 250th anniversary. Ocean liner Queen Mary II arrived today, carrying artefacts from Cook's first circumnavigation in 1769, including his draft journal. Dame Anne Summoned says when the Endeavour left, the chief chased the ship in his canoe, asking Cook to come back.
It would be great if we had the Royal Navy answer the invitation that was extended to Cook in 1769 to come back. This is the beginning of our shared history in New Zealand. In some ways it's even more significant than Waitangi.
Japan is today marking the second anniversary of the tsunami that claimed nearly 19,000 lives. The government will host a national ceremony in Tokyo where they will mourn the nearly 16,000 people who died and more than 2,500 who remain unaccounted for. Efforts to rebuild the disaster-hit region have been slow. Figures show 315,000 people are still without a permanent home, many in cramped temporary housing units. US Vice President Joe Biden says the United States is not bluffing about its determination to stop Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. Western nations are negotiating with Iran, but Israeli leaders have warned that Tehran is using peace talks to carry on with its nuclear program. Joe Biden says a military option is on the table if diplomacy doesn't work.
Well, big nations can't bluff, and presidents of the United States cannot and do not bluff. And President Barack Obama is not bluffing.
And that's tonight's news. Paul Marie.